Welcome to the Verdict Zone. Today, we confront a story where grief isn't just old, it's toxic. It involves a mother's remains, siblings who became strangers, and a gift so breathtakingly cruel it defies simple judgment. This isn't just about bad taste. It's about a decades-old family fracture where ashes have become the latest ammunition. Buckle up, because this is a heavy one. Our story begins with a wound that's 25 years old. When the narrator was just 15, her mother passed away. In the raw aftermath of this tragedy, her three older sisters didn't offer comfort. Instead, they offered blame and abandonment, leaving their youngest sibling to navigate her grief alone. This wasn't just a temporary rift. It was a fundamental shatter. The family broke, and the pieces were never put back together. The sisters became strangers, their shared history a landscape of pain and resentment. For a quarter of a century, their mother's ashes sat forgotten, not in a place of honor, not in a cherished urn, but in a temporary container, tucked away in a garage. It's a stark symbol of the family's unresolved grief and fractured state. Recently, the older sisters decided it was time to do something about it. They decided to divide the ashes. This brings us to the baton switch. One of the sisters contacted the narrator, now 40, proposing a visit, a brunch, a swim with the kids, a picture of normalcy painted over decades of alienation. The narrator agreed, perhaps hoping for a sliver of reconciliation. The sister arrived, and for 3 hours, they played the part of a happy family. They talked, they swam, they laughed, but the entire time, a clock was ticking. The sister's car was running in the driveway, her bags already packed. This wasn't a genuine visit. It was a meticulously planned drop-off. As the sister was literally walking out the door, ready to flee, she dropped the bombshell. She turned and said, "I was going to give you Mom as a Christmas gift." The words hung in the air, a grotesque distortion of love and remembrance. The sister then admitted that she'd run the idea by her work colleagues, who universally told her it was a terrible, messed up thing to do. So, what was her compromise? What was her revised gesture of familial connection? She pulled out a small plastic baggie, like one you'd use for a sandwich, containing a portion of their mother's ashes. She handed this to the narrator and left. Reeling from this calculated act of cruelty, the narrator later called her sister, trying to express how deeply she was hurt, how the casual, almost disdainful presentation of their mother's remains in a plastic bag felt like a final, devastating blow. But there was no apology, no understanding. Instead, the sister went on the attack. She aggressively pivoted, insisting the narrator should be thankful for this gift. She twisted the narrator's genuine pain into a character flaw, labeling her a victim and abusive for daring to have feelings about the situation. The sister completely dismissed the hurt she had caused, reinforcing the same pattern of blame and emotional invalidation from 25 years ago. So let's dissect the damage here. First, the gift itself. Was this an act of shared remembrance, a long overdue gesture to include a sister who had been cast out? Or was it a profound act of cruelty, a power play designed to cause pain? Giving someone their mother's ashes is an incredibly delicate, emotional event. Turning it into a surprise Christmas gift already frames it with a bizarre and inappropriate tone. It strips the moment of its sanctity. Now, let's look at the delivery. The timing and the method are everything. Why did the sister wait until she was literally leaving, with her car running? This wasn't an oversight. It was a strategy. It ensured there could be no immediate, messy, emotional reaction. It was a hit and run. She delivered the emotional payload and then escaped the fallout. And the method, a plastic baggie. After 25 years, that's the vessel she chose for their mother's remains. It communicates a shocking level of disrespect and thoughtlessness. It transforms a sacred relic into something disposable, like an afterthought. It feels less like sharing and more like offloading a burden. And does this fit the historical pattern of the family? Absolutely. The story began with the older sisters abandoning and blaming the youngest. This incident is a direct echo of that original wound. By presenting the ashes in such a cold, dismissive way and then attacking the narrator for her reaction, the sister is reinforcing the old dynamic. She is essentially saying, "Your feelings don't matter. Your pain is your own fault. You are the problem." This isn't a clumsy attempt at reconciliation. It's a continuation of a decades-long pattern of emotional manipulation. Finally, was expressing hurt a reasonable response? The sister tried to frame it as playing the victim, as being abusive. But how else is a person supposed to react? when you are handed a piece of your mother in a sandwich bag as a parting shot after a staged family reunion. Hurt is not just a reasonable response, it's the only sane and human response. To not feel hurt would be to deny the gravity of the situation and the depth of the disrespect shown. Her reaction wasn't playing a victim. It was the cry of a wound that had just been viciously torn open again. Our verdict is clear, not the a-hole. This was not a gift. This was emotional warfare disguised as a morbid gesture. The timing, the delivery, and the vicious counterattack when called out reveal a clear intent to inflict pain, not to share remembrance. The hurt felt was not only diluted, was the inevitable result of a profoundly cruel act. This story forces us to consider a difficult truth. Some family ties are not worth repairing. The deepest cuts don't always come from a knife. Sometimes they come from a hand offering ashes in a bag. Was this one of the cruelest gifts ever given? This story is shocking, and we want to know your take. Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more verdicts on the darkest family dramas, and join us as we judge the aftermath.